Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. What is going on, guys? It is Deal Finding Friday. Oh man, my favorite day. You know me, I love doing deals on Friday. So that is what we're gonna do. And guys, what I'm trying to do is my goal is to try to condense the Deal Finding Fridays as much as possible because I want to see how much you can really get done in such a short window of time. So without further ado, and guys, my problem is I like to talk, definitely a bit too much. So let me share my let me share my screen and let's just get right at it and start calling some agents and looking at some deals. All right, share my screen, entire screen, boom. Now, as always, guys, when using Privy, the first place I start is my email. That's it. That's all I need to look at. Privy, right? Because I had set up my filters, right? I mind you guys every single week, right? Set up your filters, and then Privy will do all the hard work for you. All right. And then all you got to do is look at the new stuff that Privy sends you. All right. So let's start and let's see what goodies Privy has picked out for us. So I'm going to start at the bottom. Oh, man, there's so many properties. All right. Right here. I'm not going to look at that. Not yet. Why? It looks like a nice house. I'm liking the look of this one. Let's take a peek at this. Oh man, love that picture. So my guess is this is guys, look at that. Bam. Attention flippers or investors. Cash buyer only. Come on now. House needing new kitchen, flooring, as well as small repairs. Love it, love it, love it. This is a little bit outside Orlando. Now Orlando is my go-to. Oh, I'm surprised this got sent to my email. I thought I had the minimum at 3 bedrooms. So, all right, here's the thing, guys. I'm not crazy about 2-bedroom houses. I really don't like them. Reason being is my buyers don't like them. If I had a buyer that loved 2-bedroom homes, that'd be one thing. Now, what am I going to do? Real quick, let's take a look here. I'm going to do all, and I just want to, at a quick glance, see what our price is going for. So what's sold for 187 right next to this? So this is a nice 2-bed, 2-bath. So this is listed for 149. This thing's sold for, now this is smaller. Year built, what's ours? 1953 is 1951. Let's take a look. Now, guys, another thing to keep in mind is like square footage, especially that, you know, depending who's kind of doing those numbers, that can really vary. The one thing to keep in mind is like when you look at the style of the home, if you just look on the outside of the home, if you're like, yeah, this looks like the same size, same style home, same year built, all that stuff, then you can also assume, okay, the square footage is probably about the same, even if the numbers vary a little bit, but always verify that when we're on the phone. Patricia, is liking to talk a really bad thing? Well, if you ask my fiance after a long car ride with me, the answer would be yes. But all right, let's look through this. Now, why am I taking a quick peek at this house? Because I want to get an idea as to like, is this like a fully renovated home? And the answer is no, right? If we look at it's clean, it's neat, it's safe, it's, you know, well kept. But this isn't, you know, it's not like granite countertops and you know, super modern. No, it's very basic. And this is one thing we got to keep in mind when we're looking at a property, and especially if you're thinking rehab. A lot of people look at a house and be like, oh man, you know, this needs like a fully gutted kitchen. You know, this rehab's at least going to be $70,000-$80,000. But depending on the home and depending what your buyer is planning to do with it, it might just be like a $20,000 rehab. And that can make a big difference when you're looking at and analyzing your deals. Now, let's call this agent just because we could probably have a good conversation with them about it. Let's hit up Joe. Now, the other nice thing is this is for 150. We don't have any pictures of the, or wait, do we? Did I not slide over? Yeah, so they got this listed for 150. I kind of hope this conversation goes a certain way so that you can see how I approach it. When you call an agent and you're like, dude, the house next door sold for 180 and it was in really nice condition, and you've got this thing listed for 150. Right? How do we handle that conversation? An office number. I don't want an office number. Let's well, let's just try it. It might be a cell phone. All right, Joseph. Let's call him up. 407-432-2952.
Hello.
Hey, Joe.
Speaking.
Hey, Joe. This is Nathan. How you doing?
Doing well.
I was calling. I was calling about a property I saw you had listed on Chesley Ave.
Yep.
Yeah, I was just seeing if you had a minute to chat about it, but it sounds like I caught you in the middle of something.
No, I'm fine. You're fine.
All right. Well, Joe, yeah, I'm looking at the property. I'm looking at it as a potential investment opportunity. I was wondering if you could tell me just a little bit about it and anything in particular that you think would be important for someone like me to know.
Okay. Are you? You've done a few flips, I take it, or a few investments.
Yeah, I've worked on a couple properties.
Okay. The property was rented out for a long time. The tenants had way more people living there. We also do property management, and we manage the property. And I went over. I had to go over one day and check on the property and realized that the place was trashed. So we evicted them. When I finally got them out of there, I mean, I was shocked. I've never seen a filthier property in my life ever, and I've been around the horn a few times, you know.
Yeah.
So I told the owner who lives in Jacksonville and said, "Here's the situation." And he hadn't been in the house in 10 years.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So we cleaned the place out. I got people over there. We cleaned up the yard, got rid of all the debris. I mean, there's still some overgrown slumps and stuff, but I mean, the majority of it's really cleaned up. It's got good bones. It's, concrete block. It has at the back of the carport an extra little, almost like in-law suite. It's got a full bathroom in there, and I think a washer dryer. I think that's where the washer dryer hookup is too. But it's big enough so you could put a little living bedroom combination in there. I don't know about a kitchen, but it's not that big. But it's kind of a neat little extra. The house also is concrete block. Probably needs a new roof. But it isn't leaking or anything. But I had to take out the countertops in the kitchen and the sink were so bad, and I don't know if they kept using it that way, but it began to cave in. It began to cave in, so I ripped all that out. It had roaches. We've had an exterminator go out there once. There'll be another application, I think, next week, and then we'll kind of finish sweeping out. But basically, it's ready to roll. It needs new windows, or it needs the ones that are there fixed. Probably be just as easy to just get new windows, new flooring. Really could stand a new bathroom, but it's got two. The one in the house is probably in worse shape than the one in the little ADU out back. That's about it. I mean, I think the sheetrock is all salvageable. Needs to be washed down with some, bleach scrub. But other than that, and painted with kills maybe, but other than that, it's ready to go. It's in the area is it's a nice little street, and the area actually has been cleaned up quite a bit over the years. So
okay.
It's a nice. I mean, it's kind of like it is now the ugly duckling of the neighborhood. So somebody can go in there. I'd say put about 40 to 45, maybe $50,000 into it, and have a house that can sell for 250 easily.
250.
Yeah.
Really? Have you seen anything in the neighborhood sell, around that?
Yeah, I think I have. Down, I think a street or two. But it really, I mean, it's got, if you look at it, are you local?
No. I mean, Orlando's typically where I look to kind of do all my deals, but I personally I actually live in Connecticut.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know if you're familiar with the roads, but since the highway's been put in, the perimeter beltway is almost completed in Orlando. They're working on the connections now in Sanford, and it's done. You'll be able to go all the circumvent going through, or you can go all the way around. Sort of like if you've been in downtown or in the greater Atlanta area,
Okay.
where 285 goes around the city. Or Boston, where 128 moves around 95, so you don't go into the city itself. But that's driving prices up in Lake County now. Eldora and Eustis and Tavares and Leesburg are getting recognized that people are fleeing there because prices are cheaper, and of course that is just driving the prices up. So it's a good buy. It really is.
If the property was fixed up, what I guess what do you think something like this could rent for?
Let's see, probably about 1,600, maybe 1,700.
Okay. And
I think it's at least a break-even proposition. Probably making some cash.
I guess what do you think's a better fit for this house? Do you think it's better, hey, fix it up and look to relist it, or do you feel like it's a better fit for, to get kind of fixed up and turned into a rental?
I think either way would work. Honestly, I think the rental, we have no problem renting it. We do a lot of property management. We have about 100 units.
Nice.
And we also do, real estate sales, and a few other little things, but that's mainly our focus. We have 2 offices, and one's in Mount Dora and one's in the Oviedo area in Chuliota. And really, I'd say that if you flip this thing, you're probably talking about making anywhere between 35 and 60,000. If you rented it out, you're probably talking about all in, probably, after paying off your debt on it, probably a couple thousand a month. Because the taxes are low there and the insurance would be really low. So I think you'd be good. Yeah. Okay. It's a decent flip or revitalized property either way.
Okay. Okay, got it. Now, one thing I know you kind of ran through, you were talking about, needing a roof, kitchen, windows, flooring. From what you've described, in my experience, with kind of what the previous living situation was, in my experience, they typically need to be, it's almost like a full gut. Would you, I mean, just realistically, would you say that's probably what's needed?
At least a partial cut. There's probably some sheetrock that you just cut down.
Okay.
But that's probably one of the cheaper probabilities. There are old iron and wind out windows and some regular older metal frame windows that could definitely use replacing, but there's not that many windows in the house, so you could probably do that relatively cheap. Okay. We have a roofer who said that he could do the roof for under $10,000, and he does a lot of work for us. Okay. And you could probably refloor for probably another, I'm going to say, you got to get the other old flooring out, probably another $7,500, and new cabinets and appliances another $12,000.
Okay.
And the bathrooms, you could fix up the showers. The sink and the ADU is okay. The sink, the little vanity in the bathroom needs to be taken out. It's gross. But other than that, I mean, you could put a lot of lipstick on this thing and have a little jewel. I mean, it could, and it's got this room sizes that could just make it look like $1 million.
Yeah.
I mean, the kitchen's big enough. There's a room next to the kitchen that could be a sunroom or a family room. So, I mean, it has the potential to live much larger than the square footage.
Okay.
So you really almost have to see it to appreciate it. And I know you're up in, where would you say you're up again?
Danbury, Connecticut. I don't know if you ever make your way up that way.
Oh my gosh, I grew up in Portland, Maine. So.
Oh, okay. Oh man, so you went total opposite.
Well, I was working for Century 21 Corporate as a regional director, and they had an opportunity to come down here, so I transferred. Probably the biggest mistake I made in my life. I should have stayed up in New England. I loved Portland.
Really nice.
It's a great little city.
Yeah.
And anyhow, but we have family down in Darien, and also what's the name of the town? Just right at the tip of my tongue. It's right outside of New Haven, on the water there.
Milford.
Brantford.
Okay.
Familiar with Brantford, Connecticut?
A little bit. I moved. I'm originally from upstate New York, and I'd moved to Danbury about 2 years ago now. So I'm still getting the hang of the rest of Connecticut.
Yeah, they're two very nice areas, but so we'd spend some Thanksgiving and go down there and see some family.
Oh, nice.
I like Brantford. I mean, I can remember, this was years ago. This was probably like, oh my gosh, over 30 years ago. But in New Haven, there's a theater called the Schubert.
Mm-hmm.
And we went to see Les Miserables for the first time there over Thanksgiving break. So that's my memory of New Haven. It was a good one. And then we went out to a bar called Boppers.
Boppers.
and it's a long story, so I'll tell you about someday. Yeah. But anyhow, it has a good ending. But I mean, so I'm very familiar with all of New England, and even upstate New York.
Oh, you ever make your way around like the Catskills, Saugerties?
Yeah. Usually straight over 90. From Massachusetts all the way through Albany, Rochester, Syracuse, and Buffalo. Yeah, so but never actually been to the lakes. I think the only lake I've been to, we had a little mini company retreat up at Lake George.
Oh yeah. So I was south. I was about hour 15 south of Lake George.
Oh, okay. All right. So
and like an hour and a half north of the city. Yeah, I was more like 40-ish minutes south of Albany.
Okay.
So I don't know if you ever been skiing at like Hunter, Windham Mountain. It was pretty close to those places.
I've got plenty of great skiing right there.
Oh yeah. Yours is much better than mine.
Between New Hampshire and Maine, I've skied most of them, and I keep saying to my wife that I gotta, I want to go skiing again. She goes, "You're gonna break your leg. You're an old fart now. Yeah, it's like, no, I can still ski. It's like riding a bike.
Yeah.
I said, although at the end of the day, I love that feeling of when you take off your ski boots and your feet feel 100 pounds lighter.
Yeah.
But I think I'd have to go on mega doses of ibuprofen after I ski because I haven't done it in so long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's all right. You got the sun and the waves down by you now. But
that's right.
But Joe, I could I could talk with you all day, but I don't want to take up your entire morning. Just kind of reeling it back. I know. So I really like the home. I really like everything you told me about it. I think there's a lot of potential. Um, I I've definitely got to take a little bit of a closer look, but I see where you're coming from with what it could be and what it could sell for on the back end.
It's got a nice backyard, by the way, too.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's just you put a couple in there with a kid, or just a couple of college students, or just a couple, and they would love that property. I mean, that thing would rent in a heartbeat for $1,700. I could probably squeeze 18 or more out of it, but that would be pushing. I think that would be pushing it. But in that where the neighborhood is really advanced quite a bit, it could easily get that. I mean, I know because I deal with this every day, and we've got some dog properties that even so are renting for 13 and 1,400 because that's the market.
Yeah.
The problem with that is that you get the lower end of the rental pool, and they're always problems, So
yeah, I know we'd probably be looking to flip this one to fix it up and list on the back end, which could definitely be something that we talk about in the future. Since you do a lot of that. One thing I will say, so my number one goal, Joe, is I never want to make an offer that would ever insult you or the seller, of course. Excuse me.
Well, the seller knows what he's got. I mean, he's realistic, and so we've got it at 149. We're probably going to take a little less than that. Where exactly on that range, I don't know. But judging from my phone blowing up this morning and the texts I'm getting, it's probably going to sell. It's probably going to go under contract with the next 24, 48 hours.
Yeah, I agree with you. I guess what
there's just nothing out there at that price range that's got that much potential.
I know I think 250 on the back end is I think it could be done. I think that it's definitely kind of hoping for the best case. I do know though that if everything kind of played out that way, about a 50K rehab, and if it were able to sell for 250 on the back end, after because I've got to work in the agent fee for you guys on the back end too, right, and the money costs and stuff. I just know for me it makes it very hard to get up to 149, and there's still be enough room in case something extra did pop up, or if the rehab went a little bit over.
Sure.
Not looking to make $1 million off of one flip. I do want to try to get the most fair price I can to you and your seller. I guess realistically, if it were able to be a cash offer and close in their time frame.
What kind of time frame would you be talking about?
Well, whatever time frame would work best for them. If they want to do it in 2 weeks, we can make that happen. If they'd rather be 30 days, or if they want more time for whatever reason, that's okay too.
The sooner the better with them. He's moving.
Yeah.
So he's up in Jacksonville, and they're moving over to someplace in Spain. I forget exactly the town.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, he's just he's like many of us. He's getting pretty tired of the insanity that's going on in this country. And he's just said, you know what? It's nice and sunny where I'm going. I don't have to deal with this crapola.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people have got like a form of PTSD with everything that's transpired since 2016. Yeah. So
yeah.
anyway, who knows where that's going to go? But all right, now we're getting into politics. I'm not going to go there.
So
but you never know.
Right.
Think,
right.
You know?
So Joe, I guess, you know, for your seller, kind of what he's looking to do, what he's looking to get done. Realistically, where do you think he would really need to be at in order for an offer to make sense for him?
Boy, that's a tough question to ask a listing agent, but I'd say probably in the 130s.
Okay. Okay.
I think something there, even if it's low 130s, I think would probably make him flip the switch.
Okay.
I think he'd sign it.
Now, obviously price is really important to him, but you know, money and price aside, is there anything else, you know, that would be of value to him? You know, I know it sounds like a quick closing, something that he'd be interested in for sure, and you know, that's something we can make happen. I don't know, is there anything else, anything of that would be of value to, you know, for example, I know like sometimes if we purchase a home, you know, sometimes there might be like a bunch of clutter, a bunch of junk in the house, and sometimes we offer, you know, hey, you don't need to get a dumpster and clear all that, you know.
No,
hey,
we've already done that. That's all done. It's cleared out. Really, it's just a matter of going in there, maybe replacing some sheetrock, get rid of the tile. They were so bad to this property that all of the carpet was destroyed, and they ripped it out. So they were living on cement floors, and I don't know why the tile. Some of it's normal, and then some of it's like you've got 12 by 12 tiles, and then you've got 16-inch tiles, and it's like, why did they tried to match the color. It was kind of a white, and they did okay with that, but they used the wrong size tile. I mean, it just kind of weird stuff for a renter of all things. I mean,
yeah.
What happened to the tile? What happened to the other tiles? I mean, it's a tile floor, you know, porcelain tile, ceramic tile floor, and it was pulled up, and some larger ones were put down. I don't know. So something must have happened. But you know, you just scratch your head at some of this stuff. Like, how do people even live like that?
Oh my gosh,
it was really funny.
Yeah.
They were a Mexican family, and the only relative that could speak English was an older guy. I think like a cousin or something. He was probably in his late teens, early 20s. And he said at the end, after we gave the eviction notice and they were moving out, he said, "Now, can I ask why are we getting evicted?" I said, "Are you kidding me?"
Wow.
I said, "The place is absolutely filthy. I've never seen dogs live like this." I said, "It's disgusting." I said, "You have trashed this property. Is that a good enough answer for you?"
Wow.
I mean, they're totally oblivious to how they have destroyed the property. Like, why are you evicting us?
Wow.
This is the way, apparently, wherever they came from, this is the way they lived. They had 3 or 4 kids in there, it turns out. They had 4 or 5 adults living in less than 1,000 square feet.
Yeah. Wow.
Just unbelievable.
Can't make this stuff up.
No, you can't. But it's probably, when I went in there, it was probably the worst I've ever seen. There's one that comes close. But every once in a while, one of our owners will buy another property and says, "Here, you know, rent this out for me too," and we'll go over and look at it and go, "Holy crap!" You know, you realize we do have to do some work to this. Oh, we do? What are we gonna do? Rip everything down to the studs.
Right. Yeah, well,
So, it's like we got a couple of those owners, but we deal with them.
yeah, it happens.
So,
It's hard to
so
avoid
if you,
them.
I mean, I got to run right now, but if you want to give me a call back, chew on it, we'll crunch some numbers. I'll be available probably in about an hour and a half to talk more or to answer any more questions or help with anything you might.
Yeah, no, I mean you were able to give yeah, all the information I needed. Really helpful. Appreciate your time, Joe. Yeah, let me crunch some numbers on my end. Let me take a closer look. Now, one thing I just want to ask if, like I said, my goal, I never want to insult you or the seller with a low offer. If for whatever reason, if I look at the numbers on my end and if for whatever reason my offer is not able to get all the way up to 130, do you want me to still just give you a call and let you know, or would you prefer?
Absolutely, yeah, because I mean, I've been in this business for 35. Oh, I have to count here. Over 35 years, going on 40 probably.
There you go. Good for you.
I started when I was 12, but anyway, I've seen everything, and I know to not discount anything. I mean, anything can happen. I've seen lowball offers that I didn't think stood a snowball's chance in hell, but they beat out the other ones.
Wow. Yeah.
So, but I mean, I don't think this is the case here. They've got it priced high. I know that. The seller knows that. And most investors and flippers know that too, and we know that they know that. The question is, where does it fall? Some people have more tolerance to flexibility, and some don't. So, no, you can't. To answer your question, no, you can't insult.
Okay, great. And I hope you understand. My number one goal is I just want to, kind of work with you guys. My goal is to make the best offer that I can.
You're doing this to make some money too. Totally get it. Yeah, I mean, that's what you're in the business for, and that's why we're talking. So crunch the numbers, do what you need to do, and don't worry about, insulting anyone, because you won't.
Joe, I really appreciate that. And hey, one thing I don't think I mentioned this earlier, but with calling, I am calling unrepresented. So hey, if it's okay with you, I would love if we're able to make an offer work, would love for you to be able to represent me, and and then if we do end up flipping this thing, yeah, hey, would love to talk about that conversation later on too.
Oh, sure, absolutely. I mean, our goal is simply to build our customer base and to give them the quality service that they deserve. And I can't tell you how many companies down here, because there's so many people moving here, they don't have any attention to decent detail or quality service. They just don't. It's like, oh, well, you don't like it, too bad. There's 100 more people moving down here this afternoon.
Yeah,
I mean, that's how much of a throwaway mentality they've got down here. Not to say everyone, absolutely not, but in this business, it's very much, you don't like it, too bad, next. And we just don't operate that way.
Right.
Once we have a customer, that's it. You're our customer for life.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. Well, it's the only way to go. I've been around the horn. I've talked with and taught Century 21 brokers all along the East Coast, and I worked for a company called Merrill for 10 years that was the largest supplier of print and marketing materials for real estate in the world. And I was overseeing everything east of the Mississippi, plus Texas. We're talking about a $20 million account. And probably a $3 billion company. So, I've helped the presidents and the marketing directors of some of the largest real estate companies in the country.
Oh, wow.
Remaxes and Prudentials and, Berkshire Hathaways, Keller Williams, all of them. You'd be surprised how many of them don't know squat. It's amazing. They're successful in spite of themselves, but that's what I used to do. And say, hey, you need to do this type of marketing for this market for your size company and for your agents, and did quite well. But I guess the point I was trying to make is that on the outside, real estate looks simple. They think everybody drives around in a Mercedes or a Lexus or Lamborghini these days, or Maserati, and thinks that that's what we do. We just go around and show people houses and just go home and take off our clothes and jump into our piles of money. It's not that way.
Right.
There's actually some work, and so if you're of any integrity, there's more than that. There's more than that involved in real estate, whether it's Florida or any place else. So.
No, absolutely. Well, Joe, I really, really enjoyed chatting with you. And let me do some kind of homework on my end, and look forward to chatting again real soon.
Sounds great. What was your name again?
Nathan Valle.
Nathan Valle. Well, nice to meet you, Nathan. And give me a call.
All right. Sounds good, around. Joe.
All right.
Take care.
Have a great morning.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Come on, man. That is what I'm talking about, guys. So, man, a lot of really good stuff to break down. So, in case if you haven't been looking at my screen or if you've just been listening, so towards the end there, now, super nice guy, right? Guys, look, there's a lot of really, really nice agents. No need to be afraid, right? And also, I'm glad you guys got to see. I feel people get concerned a lot, like, oh, well, like, what if they ask where I am? I didn't need to provide, oh, here's my company website and my office is located here. I said, he's like, oh, are you in the area? And I'm like, no, not at all. I'm all the way in Connecticut, right? And it turned into be a totally fine conversation, right? So guys, number one thing, just be authentic, tell the truth, nothing wrong with that. So what I was doing with my screen here towards the end here, man, he liked to chat. So I was looking at some of the comps. Now, the funny thing was in the beginning of the conversation, he's like, oh, I think on the back end, like this could sell for $250. And like at a real quick glance, right, in my mind, I was just like, you sure about that? So, but then I was like, let me take a closer look. And guys, again, this is what's so great about Privy. All right, I can see I want to look at what's right here in this neighborhood. I don't really want to cross the street. And so I click on this one. I'm like, oh, this sold for $279. Now, yes, it's bigger, but one thing to keep in mind with our house that I overlooked on the first glance, we've got a good sized garage. And he also, one thing that you can't see from the pictures, he talked about that there's a room you could almost make into like a mother-daughter suite. That's a big deal. And that can make a big difference. And the other thing is when we look at the comps, Privy shows you right up here, this house sold for $240. Right. And if we look at it, this was done really well. And guys, this is a small house. I know it says 1,000 square feet, but I do not think this house is bigger than our house or the one that we're looking at. So now, but if you look at the, the countertops, kitchen, now guys, also professional photos and stuff goes a long ways. That's why having a good agent is important. Like, oh, see, this is why we look at all the pictures, right? So this has this kind of weird second garage thing in the back and a carport. So that's interesting. So that's something to keep in mind. When we're looking at properties, guys, if it ever pops up of like, man, why did this one property sell for so much more? Ask that question, right? And reach out to either the agent or whoever. And if you're not able to find that answer, because I guarantee you it's either something got listed wrong, right? Or the information was recorded wrong. You'd be surprised how often that happens. Or two, there's usually something about the property that gives it more value that you can't necessarily just see from the pictures. Now, this one we can, right? They've got it right here. But sometimes I know in my experience, a lot of times it's been lot size. Oh, I didn't realize this lot is X amount times bigger than everything else. Or I didn't realize, oh, it had this with it, or it's got a fully finished basement that like doubles the square footage and they just don't have it listed, right? All those things kind of come into play. But still, I think 250 is a bit ambitious. Like, could it happen? Yes, it could potentially be a 250 ARV. This is showing up as listed as 270. So could it list for 250? Yeah, I wouldn't die on the hill for 250. But I would, guys, this is where I rely on my buyer. Now, what did we do though? We did our job, which was get the motivation, get all the details possible. Is this an opportunity? Right? All day, this is an opportunity. Now, what else did we get from the agent? He said the rehab would be 45 to 50K, right? He said the roof, we've got a quote under 10K, the floors would be 7,500, right? One thing I thought was so funny is he kept saying, oh, it needs a roof, it needs a kitchen, it needs windows, it needs flooring. Oh, but it's I mean, we're just gonna broom sweep it and it's ready to go. And it's like, wait, what? So it's a full gut rehab, but it's ready to go. So I kept thinking that was funny every time he said it. But I would really lean on him, right? When I go to make my offer. Now, number one, I'm going to go back to my buyers, right, and get their feedback. But number two, I would lean on him like, hey, look, so I mean, you're really, really like confident that given the, I mean, you know the house better than me. I haven't had a chance to walk in stuff yet. I mean, are you really confident that it really is a 45 to 50K rehab? Right? And put that pressure on them. Because now if he says yes, and I walk it during the inspection period, and my buyer's like, dude, this ain't a 45, 50K rehab. This is like an $80,000 rehab. And here's why, right? And your buyer gives you all the detailed expert information. And now you can go back to the agent and say, hey, look, the price that we were able to offer was based on it. We were really hoping it was a closer to a 50K rehab. But after taking a closer look, because of this, and this, right? The specific information your buyer gave you, because of these things, it's really going to be more like a $70,000 to $80,000 rehab. And obviously that the same price that we offered isn't able to work with that big of a difference, right? And now it's not your fault. It's on the agent. They gave you bad information. They gave you wrong information. Now, guys, of course, obviously, you got to do your own due diligence. It's your responsibility. But from a negotiating standpoint, you're able to put it on them because now you are not the bad guy when you go back to renegotiate, right? Same reason why now we asked about price. He dropped 20 grand. 20 on a house that's listed at 150, right? 20 grand's a pretty big drop. 20 grand right on the phone he's like, yeah, they would accept this, right? And the funny thing, he's a listing agent, so definitely they would go lower than that, right? Or high likelihood they would probably accept even lower than that, right? So 20 grand right off the top. He's like, yeah, they would probably accept an offer like that. On top of that, right? What did we do? Man, one of my favorite things. Hey, God, I totally understand. I know 130 is what we're looking to hit. If for whatever reason I crunch the numbers and if I'm not able to come all the way up to 130, do you still want me to call back or should I just not even bother? Of course, I don't want to insult you with a low offer, right? And what does he do? Oh my God, no, please, please, please call me back, right? So we just got permission to make whatever offer we want, right? So now you don't have to worry about getting cursed out. You don't have to worry about him getting upset, right? Because again, we're putting it on him, right? If we come back and I'm like, hey, yeah, I can only offer 70,000, and here's why. Now that's a steep drop, but he said to call him back and make whatever offer you need to make, right? So you have just gotten permission to now you can do that. And it's a lot easier to do that rather than if I just texted him or sent him an email saying, hey, here's my offer at 70,000. Now, the other thing that I would normally do is when you're talking to somebody and it's your normal market and you're working in this, on an everyday basis, especially this guy, he's got a property management company, all this stuff. I'd say, hey, Joe, this is a great property. I'm definitely gonna crunch some numbers. But hey, look, do you happen to have any other properties, anything similar to this, right? He talked about how he's got a few other houses that, oh yeah, they're beaters and not the best tenants and they're kind of run down. Guys, that's an amazing contact, right? This is a type of person, right, that they have listed here on Privy, right? This agent Joe would be somebody you want to create a relationship with, and that's the power of Privy and reaching out to agents, because you got to think bigger picture. Joe is worth more than just this one deal, right? Privy does more than just provide the deal. It provides the relationship, and the relationship isn't worth just one deal. It could be worth 10. That's the power of relationships. So guys, I've got to end it there. I hope you guys got a lot out of today. I thought it was a really, really good conversation. Hope to see you all again next time on Deal Finding Friday. Guys, have an amazing weekend. Thank you for joining me. I'll see you all next week. Take care, guys.